Carlos Ulberg has just beaten Volkan Oezdemir at UFC China. And yes, I scored it 30-27 to Carlos Ulberg. I think he definitely won the fight. The judges scored, well, two judges scored it 30-27. The other judge scored it 29-28 in favor of Carlos Ulberg. I think there were some close rounds in there, definitely. I thought Oezdemir made them competitive, but I think in every single one of the rounds, Carlos Ulberg very clearly did enough to take the rounds. I thought it was a very good performance from him on the back foot, and I thought his counters were great all night. He was always catching Oezdemir, walking onto his shots, and I thought the timing of Carlos Ulberg was very good as well. Stuffed a few takedowns here and there. I thought it was a good performance from Ulberg. Showed his good takedown defense and was very good on the feet. I feel like there was a lot of people who wanted to see him mix in some more kicks more, but overall, I think Ulberg went down to the body well with his punches. I thought he was very good with level changes at times. I thought his jab was solid. There were times in the fight where they were both countering each other with jabs, but overall, it was Ulberg who was too smart with the counters and was moving very nicely on the back foot. And it was just Oezdemir really walking into shots and not really moving his head off centre line. And that is what cost Oezdemir. I thought he's putting some shots together all right. There were times where Oezdemir was just throwing some single shots that weren't landing, but I thought at times Oezdemir worked the low kicks well and was able to get success. Ulberg was checking them well at times as well. I'm going to go through it. It's obviously, round one that I thought Ulberg's counters were great for the whole round, really. And Oezdemir wasn't really mixing things up much. Ulberg was really mixing his shots up nicely and was always moving around a lot. And that's what was very good for Ulberg. He was able to move around a lot, planted his feet, threw his shots nicely, got out of there, and got back on the jab a bit. And Oezdemir came walking in. Ulberg was able to catch him onto some big shots. So overall, it was a good round from Ulberg. Round two, Ulberg, was always catching Oezdemir with the counters again. And at times when Oezdemir was throwing his shots, he was leaning in quite a bit, and it was easy for Ulberg to throw in the odd lead took in there and catch Oezdemir off guard. And was a really difficult fight for him in the end. That there were times where he was able to work the body well. Oezdemir came forward. He was trying to work the low kicks, getting some success with them. Oezdemir did get some good success in this second round, and I think arguably you could give the second round to Oezdemir because I think the punch stats were very close, to be honest with you. I'm not sure who outlanded who in the round, but Oezdemir was landing some good shots and was working the low kicks quite smartly in the round. But overall, I think it was clear that Ulberg was landing the bigger shots and the more effective work. So I think you'd probably give that second round to Carlos Ulberg. Then the final round I thought was definitely Ulberg. He was catching Oezdemir very nicely with some big shots. And Oezdemir, I just feel like from Oezdemir, he was just doing the same thing every single round. And there wasn't really much for him to change. So Ulberg didn't really need to change up much himself. So, he was just always able to catch Oezdemir when he was coming in, move around, catch him, plant his feet, then go back on, moving about nicely on the back foot and picking his shots well, picking his moments well, picking the odd explosive moments well. Oezdemir took some really big shots throughout the fight. It's a fair play. But it was this round where Ulberg had to stuff the odd takedown. Ulberg was unpredictable with his shots, and I feel like at times Oezdemir was predictable, and that's what was able to win Ulberg the fight at the end of the day. It was a good fight. Oezdemir made rounds competitive, but it was just him walking into shots at times, which cost him. I mean, Oezdemir, when he was walking in, he was kind of walking in a straight line a bit, but when he was walking in, Oezdemir was landing as well, but taking some and giving some back. So, Oezdemir did well. He did damage, but he was just getting caught by, the bigger puncher in Ulberg. And Ulberg, it was very clearly, you could hear the impact in his shots. So I just realized how awful the lighting is. But you could hear the impact in Ulberg's shots and that they were the far more dangerous shots. And, you know, if there was a finish in that fight, it was always going to come from Carlos Ulberg. Okay, next up, of course, we're now talking about what is next for Carlos Ulberg. Ranked number 10 right now. He's probably going to move up. Well, definitely, obviously. Carlos Ulberg, who do we see him in there with? Oezdemir was definitely his toughest test yet. I mean, do we move him in there with like someone like Alexander Rakic or something like that? Khalil Roundtree versus Carlos Ulberg? Yeah, I think they do that fight. I think they should do Ulberg versus Roundtree. I think that was originally meant to happen as well. So, you know, oh no, sorry, that was Hill and Ulberg, sorry. And then Roundtree obviously took over against Pereira. I think, yeah, I think Ulberg versus Roundtree is a good fight to make. Or, yeah, again, you could get the Jamal Hill Carlos Ulberg fight on. That is what I think could happen. So, yeah, Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg, Roundtree versus Carlos Ulberg. I really do think Ulberg can do really well against someone like Roundtree. You know, Roundtree's a good stand-up guy. I really like the way Ulberg puts his shots together. He moves nicely as well, but Roundtree's pretty relentless. I think that's a perfect fight. Roundtree and Carlos Ulberg, get that fight done. But again, I think Ulberg can really cause someone like Jamal Hill issues. And if Ulberg can get a win over number 3 ranked Jamal Hill, then that's massive for Carlos Ulberg, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. Thanks for watching this video, King. I'll speak to you in a bit.